Welcome to our deep dive into the historical inspirations behind Game of Thrones. Today we'll explore 10 possible real-world parallels that influence the characters and events in this epic series. George R.R. Martin takes inspiration from history, twists it, flips it, and then throws in a dragon or two for good measure. So, buckle up, grab your goblets, and get ready for a journey through history, treachery, and maybe even a little bit of dragon fire. We begin with Tywin Lannister, the patriarch of House Lannister, a man who ruled his family and often the Seven Kingdoms with an iron fist. Take Edward I of England, for example, the Hammer of the Scots. He was known for his military prowess and his brutal subjugation of his enemies. And then there's Charles the Bold, the Duke of Burgundy. He was obsessed with consolidating his power, much like Tywin, and wasn't afraid to use any means necessary to achieve his goals. Tywin, like Edward and Charles, understood the importance of legacy, of building a dynasty that would last for generations. Daenerys the Khaleesi, the mother of dragons, the breaker of chains. Her story is one of exile, ambition, and ultimately tragedy. Take Henry VII of England, for instance. He too was an exile who returned to his homeland to claim his birthright, much like our Dragon Queen. Both faced seemingly insurmountable odds, yet managed to rally support and ultimately seize power. Like Daenerys, Joan of Arc was driven by a belief in her own destiny, a righteous fury that inspired those around her. The War of the Five Kings. Just saying the name conjures up images of epic battles, shifting alliances, and enough bloodshed to make even the most hardened warrior blanch. The Wars of the Roses, a decades-long conflict for the English throne, immediately springs to mind. Just like in Westeros, various factions vying for power, families torn apart by ambition, and a kingdom consumed by violence. The Yorks and the Lancasters, much like the Starks and Lannisters, learned the hard way that the Game of Thrones is one where you either win or you die. It reflects a common thread throughout medieval Europe: the fragmentation of kingdoms, the rise of ambitious lords, and the constant struggle for power. George R.R. Martin took these historical realities and wove them into the fabric of Westeros. The War of the Five Kings is a reminder that peace is often fleeting. And just when you thought things couldn't get any more chaotic, enter Ramsay Bolton. Now, I've seen my fair share of darkness in my time, but Ramsay Bolton, he's a special kind of cruel. A sadist who reveled in the suffering of others, who took pleasure in breaking those weaker than himself. Vlad the Impaler, the 15th century ruler of Wallachia, is one such figure. Known for his brutal tactics and his fondness for impaling his enemies, hence the name, Vlad was a nightmare made flesh. While Ramsay might not have had Vlad's fondness for pointy objects, both men shared a penchant for psychological torture. And then there's Elizabeth Bathory, the Blood Countess of Hungary. Rumoured to have bathed in the blood of virgin girls to maintain her youth, Bathory was a figure of both fascination and horror. These historical figures remind us that evil is not a fantasy, a figment of our imaginations. Cersei Lannister, a woman of fierce intelligence, unwavering ambition, and a deep-seated love for her children. Margaret of Anjou, the wife of King Henry VI during the Wars of the Roses, is a prime example. Like Cersei, Margaret was a fierce protector of her son's claim to the throne, willing to do whatever it took to secure his birthright. Then, of course, there's Lucrezia Borgia, the daughter of Pope Alexander VI. Lucrezia was a woman who knew how to use her beauty and her position to her advantage. Now, let's talk about Jon Snow. The bastard of Winterfell, the brooding hero, the man who knows nothing, or does he? Jon's journey from outcast to leader, from darkness to, hopefully, a brighter future, is one that resonates throughout history and mythology. We see shades of William the Conqueror in Jon. Both were bastards who rose to positions of power through courage, determination, and a bit of luck. Both men were thrust into leadership roles, forced to make difficult choices that would shape the fate of their people. Jon Snow is a hero for our times, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope. Ah, the Red Wedding. Just mentioning it sends shivers down the spine, doesn't it? The betrayal, the bloodshed, the sheer brutality of it all. But as shocking as it is, the Red Wedding is not without precedent in our own world. Take the Glencoe massacre, for example, a brutal event in Scottish history, where members of the Clan MacDonald were murdered by their hosts, the Clan Campbell, after a supposed breach of hospitality. The sense of betrayal, the violation of trust, it echoes the horror of the Red Wedding. And then there's the Night of St. Bartholomew's Day massacre, a targeted group of assassinations, followed by a wave of Catholic mob violence directed against the Huguenots, French Calvinist Protestants during the French Wars of Religion. These historical events, as horrific as they are, serve as a stark reminder that the world is not a fairy tale. There are no guarantees of happy endings, no knights in shining armor coming to the rescue. Sometimes the bad guys win and the good guys are left bleeding in the snow. Chapter 8, The Wall and the Night's Watch, Guardians at the Edge of the World, the Wall. A monolith of ice and stone, a testament to the ingenuity of men, and a stark reminder of the dangers that lurk beyond the edges of civilization. Hadrian's Wall, built by the Romans to defend their northern border in Britain, immediately springs to mind. Like the wall in Game of Thrones, Hadrian's Wall was a physical barrier against invaders, a symbol of Roman power and a testament to their engineering prowess. And then there's the Great Wall of China, a colossal structure that stretches for thousands of miles across the Chinese landscape. The Night's Watch, the sworn brotherhood tasked with defending the wall, also has historical parallels. They are reminiscent of the medieval military orders, like the Knights Templar or the Knights Hospitaller, who dedicated their lives to service and protection. Chapter 9. Dragons, more than just flying lizards. Dragons, magnificent creatures of myth and legend, capable of soaring through the skies and unleashing fiery destruction upon their enemies. In Game of Thrones, dragons are more than just mythical beasts. They are weapons of mass destruction, game changers that can tip the balance of power in an instant. Think of the arrival of gunpowder in Europe, for example. Cannons and muskets changed the face of warfare, just as dragons have the potential to reshape the political landscape of Westeros. The Mongol conquests under Genghis Khan offer another interesting parallel. The Mongols, with their superior horsemanship and archery skills, swept across Asia and Europe, shattering empires and redrawing borders. Chapter 10, Petyr, Littlefinger, Baelish and Varys, the master puppeteers. Ah, the game within the game. The whispers in the shadows, the secrets exchanged in darkened rooms, the alliances forged and broken on a whim. No one plays this game better than Petyr, Littlefinger, Baelish and Varys, the master of whisperers. Littlefinger, with his cunning schemes and his ability to manipulate those around him, brings to mind the infamous Niccolo Machiavelli. Varys, with his network of informants and his deep understanding of the flow of information, is reminiscent of Thomas Cromwell, the chief minister to King Henry VIII of England. And there you have it, 10 historical inspirations behind Game of Thrones. From ruthless kings and queens to cunning advisors and mythical beasts, the show draws upon a rich tapestry of historical figures and events, adding depth and complexity to its narrative. George R.R. Martin's brilliance lies in his ability to take these historical echoes and weave them into something new and exciting. So the next time you find yourself lost in the world of Westeros, take a moment to appreciate the real-world history that helped shape this epic tale. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into your favorite shows and movies.